How's it going, everybody? JP here. Today, I have a TANTO 22 class that I think you guys are hopefully going to like. It focuses mainly on mobility. It took me a while to put together some attachments that I like, but I feel like the mobility is there. The accuracy is there. This is an all-around good submachine gun, so let's just get right into the attachments. So starting with the optic, obviously I went with the red dot because it's an SMG. I'm not going to be fighting people a million miles away. Now, of course, sights are pretty much personal preference. If you like putting a 3x on an SMG, by all means do it. You can with this one. This submachine gun has really low recoil, so it'd be pretty good for it. But for this class, I went with the red dot, just a simple red dot. There's like a million sights, so I just stuck with the easiest one. For the muzzle, I went with a ported compensator, mainly because it gives you vertical recoil control and first shot recoil control. Now, you do have that with the muzzle brake, and it does give you a little bit more, but the kick reset speed, I mean, this gun is already slow firing, so you kind of don't really need that unless you're going to run rapid fire on it, but I wouldn't recommend it. You do get vertical recoil control with the other one, and then the suppressor. You could run suppressor if you're going to be running around the map, maybe use the suppressor, but I went with the ported compensator. I don't mind people seeing me on the map, feeds me more kills, perfect for this weapon. For the barrel, I went with the reinforced barrel, by far my favorite barrel for any weapon to begin with. You could go with the short barrel if you like jumping around corners, if that's your thing, but to be honest, the reinforced is probably the best one to use, mainly because it gives you the best of both worlds from the gain twist and the long barrel just combined to one. It might bring your stats down just a little bit, but not anything significant, and I love this barrel. It's like the one I use for almost all my classes. For the underbarrel, I went with the Ranger foregrip, mainly because of the sprinting move speed. I think it's pretty much the only one that gives you that, so enhanced mobility a little bit. It also gives you a little bit of recoil control. You could go with the vertical foregrip if you just literally just want recoil control, but since this is a mobility class, the Ranger foregrip is going to be your best friend, and I highly recommend it. For the magazine, this one was kind of tough because there is a couple of options. I do love running extended mags on a lot of my weapons, but the reload is just not there for me, especially with submachine guns, because I'm moving quickly throughout the map and I kind of don't want to spend, a year reloading, especially if I'm in the heat of battle or anything like that. I was also thinking about Fast Mags 1, but those 5 rounds, it doesn't seem like a lot, but honestly it is, because I find myself reloading way too often, almost after every gunfight, especially if you're not hitting your shots. This is just not where it's at. I mean, you could go with it if you want the speed of it, but I suggest the flip mags because it gives you the standard 30 rounds, but it still allows you to reload quickly. Maybe not as quick as Fast Mags 1, but the benefit is still there. For the rear grip, again, this one was kind of hard for me to decide on. There's 2 different ones that I like, which is the CQB grip and the ergonomic grip. I went with the ergonomic because of the aim down sight speed. They both have 2 of the slide to fire speed and dive to fire speed. They're both the same. It's just the sprint to fire speed on the CQB and the aim down sight speed. So between those 2, whichever one you like, I suggest going with your favorite one. They both give you the mobility. I just like aim down sight speed better. I could understand sprint to fire speed, especially with a submachine gun. You're going to be running around, but ultimately I chose the ergonomic grip. For the stock, I went with the balanced stock, mainly because of all the pros. I mean, it gives you pros in pretty much all the movement categories that you want. You could go no stock, but that only gives you hip fire movement speed and strafing movement speed. But the balanced stock gives you all of them pretty much, plus the aim walking movement speed. So honestly, choose the balanced stock. Submachine guns, if it has it, use the balanced stock. If not, go with the no stock. Unless you're focusing on recoil control, maybe flinch resistance, but honestly, balanced stock and no stock are probably going to be your best friends with submachine guns, and that goes for any. And for the last attachment, here is where you can decide on if the TANTO fires too slowly for you, go with the rapid fire. The only thing with the rapid fire, and I've tested it, in multiplayer. Me personally, I'm just not as accurate with it. You might be, but ultimately I need the recoil control. So I went the recoil springs. This gun is already accurate, and this adds just that little bit more accuracy to your shots. So if anything, you could go rapid fire, try it out. If you like it, use it. If not, then I suggest recoil springs. I haven't unlocked the binary trigger. This just was recently released, but I'm going to try that out too, see if that's any good, but it does take away the Ranger foregrip and my barrel, so I don't know how good that's going to be. But I'll see if I can unlock it, see how it does. But for now, recoil springs. All right, guys, this is all the attachments all in one. This is all the pros, as you will, benefits that you're going to get. A lot in mobility and handling. You do get more in accuracy and some in firepower, which is the bullet velocity, which I don't know how much that really affects multiplayer. It's mainly for Warzone, but again, those are all your pros. Getting into the whole class setup, I am just running a pistol. You just run whatever you run, melee, knife, you know, regular. For my tactical, I am running the stem shot. I think it's by far the best one out of pretty much all of them. I kind of don't like running flashbangs or concussions, mainly because they never work for me. I always use them, and for some reason, they never stay stunned. They never nothing. But when I get flash or something, you know how it is. For my lethal, Semtex, I like to flip Semtex and frag together, depending on the situation, depending on the map, or if I'm playing objective game modes. It just depends, really. But I do like running the Semtex a lot. For the field upgrade, this one, again, is up to personal preference. I do like the sleeper agent because I fool people like almost 90% of the time. If they're not paying attention, they'll just walk right past me and I'll get an easy kill that way. It's probably one of the most overpowered ones that I don't see a lot of people use because if you use it right, you can literally get behind everybody and no one will know the difference. But of course, you know, if you give away your position, everyone's going to know who you are. So it's a hit or miss with this one. I also like using the assault pack because I do not run scavenger on a lot of my classes. So having the assault pack for the ammo is pretty decent, especially if you go on like those longer streaks. It's like the best thing you can have. For my perk 1, I went with Ninja because footsteps are ridiculous and everybody with a good headset is going to hear you from a mile away, especially if they tune their settings just right. I mean, it's honestly ridiculous and it's annoying because the amount of times I've died because somebody heard my footsteps is just insane. So I went with Ninja. It's my favorite one. Anytime they have Ninja, I'm using it. My perk 2, Dispatcher, and perk 3, Bankroll. Obviously for my kill streaks, I do run UAV, Advanced UAV, and Chopper Gunner. I try to run the highest ones, especially if I'm using these two. Once you get on those streaks, it works pretty perfect. You can get those high streaks pretty easily. So I like running these two. I don't really delve into the other perks too much. Again, it depends on the situation. On most classes, this is what I'm running. And of course, as you know, I'm running the Gunfighter wildcard. All the other wildcards I really don't like, in my opinion. This is the best one. Your weapon is the main focus of the whole multiplayer, so I need as many attachments as I can. Anything to gain the advantage against people. All right, guys, now I'm going to show you some gameplay of the weapon in action in multiplayer. I'm going to be playing Domination, Team Deathmatch, Kill Confirmed, and I think that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a comment down below of how you like this class or if there's any changes you recommend to this class. As always, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on future loadouts. Hope you guys have a nice day. See you in the next video.
In the sky. UAV.
Mission timeline expired. UAV RTB. Commencing surveillance operation. UAV fuel check 50%. return. We have eyes on. UAV mission timeline 50% expended.
Contact with UAV has been lost.
UAV commencing surveillance operation. UAV MTL 50%. Check.
Hold the line, Crimson. This is ours to lose. Domination. Secure the objective.
Tossing subtext.